Oh. गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः Our Chandrasekhar ji has given the topic. Two topics he has given now. First topic was practical application of Bhagavad Gita in our daily life, and second topic is Swamiji's Krishna, we are Arjuna. Start. Yes, Bhagavad Gita is the most practical textbook of our life. But everything that Bhagavad Gita tells, we already know. We just make believe that we do not know. We just make believe that we do not know. Every principle that is given in Bhagavad Gita, every principle, unknowingly you are practicing it in your life. I'm thinking loudly here. So as I'm thinking, if you come up with something, you can say, and you can add your bit into it. This is my experience, that everything that Bhagavad Gita is telling, all the principles that it is outlaying, whether it be about the world, whether it be about my body, whether it be about my breath, whether it be about my mind, everything is my direct experience. But I choose not to know it. I choose not to look in that direction. In Melbourne, someone asked me, I asked her that question when we went for a walk. What is living in truth and living in imagination? See? When we study Bhagavad Gita, we come to live in the truth. And even if you don't study Bhagavad Gita, you are still in the truth. This has to be accepted. This has to be accepted. I'm not being what you call, a person who wants to ruffle the feathers, but the truth is, come in. The truth, come sit down. The truth is that we do not want to look at the truth that is ever present in my life. Naturally, the next question will be, what is the truth? Sir, I am looking at my truth. What is the truth that you are looking at? You are not looking at the truth, you are looking at untruth. Because your attention is only on that which comes and goes. Your attention, you said we are living in, this is the finite, Maya is finite. We are looking only at the finite. So if you are continuously involved in the finite world, thinking about the finite world, thinking about the finite thoughts, and then think that I want to know the truth, I want to know the truth, I want to self-realize. You have to shift the attention to the self that you already are. See, just now we were sitting here and our discussion began, and is it not our experience? Can we objectively talk about that you went to sleep last night? Can you talk about it? Yes. Can you talk about yesterday night you had a dream? Yes. Can you talk about that yesterday you went through the waking experience? You can, isn't it? So you have experienced the waking world, you have experienced the dream world, and you have experienced the deep sleep world. What can you talk about? Only that which is other than you. Only about objective experience you can talk about. You cannot talk about subjective experience. Because there is nothing to talk about the subject matter. Subject matter is I. What can you talk about I? I is I. Oh, but I is Satchidanand. That the book says. You are again objectifying this truth. This I is Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swarup. Again you are objectifying the I. Through words. See? So, objective, you can talk about something which is your object, that about an objective experience. So, waker, dreamer, and deep sleeper are three objective experiences where you are taking a role of a waker, dreamer, and deep sleeper. Just like as a man, you are taking a role of father, mother, daughter, brother, sister, and you can talk about those roles, isn't it? Objectively, because you know they are make believe. Then why this insistence, this duragraha in our life? Insistence in our life that this waking plane of experience is the only truthful experience, this is the only real experience for us. That I have to. Dreamer may talk about self-realization in dream, but when he wakes up, he forgets which self-realization, what sadhana, what pranayam, what yoga. Forget it. You may be a great yogi in the dream, but the moment you wake up, there's nothing about it. So in the waking that we are right now, why so much insistence that I do not know the truth, I want to know the truth? Bare Baba, you are already the truth. Stop seeking it. Be it. Stop seeking it. Be it. It will be the most practical way of applying Gita in your life, because Gita's whole thing, as you all know, it is Mama Dharma. What is my dharma in life, isn't it? We are talking about practical way of applying Gita. What is the purpose of studying Bhagavad Gita? Is it to become miserable in life? No.
Come out of misery.
Is it to compare yourself how knowledgeable you are with another person? No. Is it to compete with others? No. Is it to by heart the Bhagavad Gita from chapter 1 till chapter 18? No. All that is information. But what is the essence? What is my dharma? What is the essence of Bhagavad Gita? It is not to practice karma yoga, it is not to practice bhakti yoga, it is not to practice meditation, it is not to practice knowledge. Then what it is?
To renounce.
To be with you.
To be. To renounce, again, you are taking a role and you want to get rid of something. To be is the goal. Now for this to click in our life, you cannot be an Arjuna, because you will never understand as Arjuna. Arjuna died an ignorant death. He went to heaven. He will be born somewhere. Maybe one of you is Arjuna. Heaven, anyone who goes to heaven, after he finishes his merit, he comes back down, isn't it? That's what the theory says. Then you have to look at the entire Bhagavad Gita from the point of view of Krishna, not Arjuna. And what is Krishna's view?
Be yourself. Be yourself.
He does everything, yet he doesn't do anything.
He is not in it. He is doing it. He still is.
He is still not doing it. He is married to 16,000 wives, yet he is independent. He is a brahmachari. He is a kingmaker, yet he is not a king. See, he is acting, doing the right thing when he goes and meets Yudhishthir and Bhim. He will touch their feet. He is the Lord himself. But he will play his role perfectly. He will go and touch their feet. He will embrace Arjuna and he'll allow Nakul and Sahadev to touch his feet. But inside in his heart, he is absolutely unattached to all these roles. Absolutely unattached. Why? Because he never compromises even once as to who he is. And from that point, he is explaining the Bhagavad Gita to only when I have the overview of the total, like GPS, while I was coming, I was caught up in Lane Cove Road, like you guys. And then I put my phone, because I got the GPS, which is very old, Navman. Someone gave it to me. But my phone is new. So I opened it and immediately said, lucky, right time. 15 seconds late, I would have got caught up again. It says, turn into Lady Game Drive. And it says 6 minutes. I said, oh my God, because the other Navman doesn't show me the time. It just says 6 kilometers. But I said, Lady Game Drive, yeah, let's play a game. I turned. And without any traffic, I came here. Because this fellow, it's updated and it has the overview of the everything. And if I don't have a GPS, I'll be there sitting frustrated, I'll be cursing, why this is happening, I'll go into this lane and that lane. I even thought of going into some Epping Road. Then I opened the phone, I saw there's no road coming towards your place from Epping Road. I said, thank God I did not take that turn, because it was empty. Just because it's empty, it doesn't mean that I have to go that way. So how do we get this overview vision? The eagle's viewpoint, where you are able to see everything clearly, crystal clear. Sitting here, I don't know what the roads are outside, which road, what is here? Barry Street, then something other, all those names. But if I go up a little bit, I can see all the streets. If I go up a little bit, I can see even more. And the higher I go, I can clearly see where the traffic jam is and negotiate my way out, isn't it? But how do we get that vision then? I am standing on the ground, and by standing on this earth, how can I get that total vision? That total vision cannot come through objectification. That total vision, that eagle view, will not come by being an individual. The more the individuality dissolves, to that extent your vision keeps expanding. What does it mean that it keeps expanding? Does it mean that you are walking on earth but your head is in the sky and from there you are watching everything? No, you will not watch traffic like that. But it's something intuitive. You find yourself in the right place at the right time with the right people, what we are just now talking. He gave me a good example. What was that? He says that, we have to, everyone's perception is different in life. I said, yes, everyone's perception is different. And yes, but everyone, when we go to Mahatmas, we go with our perceptions and we learn. I said, depends. With what mindset you have, what fears you have, what insecurities you have, what desires you have, what shortcomings you have, what abilities, capabilities you have. With that whole package, you will only attract the person like that. See? So he says, but all Mahatmas are not like that. I said, yes, absolutely right. If a Mahatma is not a realized master, then you will attract a person, you are having fear that I must not be used and abused by a Mahatma or an organization. Then you will get a Mahatma and an organization in such a manner who will do exactly that to you, because it has to make your fear a reality. You will attract that.
Correct.
And this point came because of his satsang here last Sunday that they did, that Everyone does not want to go to an mission or some ashram. They are afraid of it. Everyone does not want to go to a temple. Some people are there. Outwardly, they will say, I don't want to go to a temple. Why? It's only all those fellows are crooks out there. Then where is God? He is in my heart. They don't want to go. They don't want to go and meet sannyasis. Why? Man, I have seen many hypocritical sannyasis. I have come across sannyasis who use and abuse because they were that type. Example I gave before. So many cases you see.
Yeah.
Whether it be church or temples or different places, everywhere you are seeing those type of cases. Then how do you? You make yourself pure. That's all. And how do you make yourself pure? How do you make yourself to have that your mind and your heart expands? That you come to abide in yourself as yourself. How do you do that? Do you do that by study of scriptures? Do you do that by going and being with Mahatmas? It may help. Scriptures may help. Japa may help. Karma yoga may help. Meditation may help. But it will only help. Then what is the sure short way that you will not go wrong?
Be truth to yourself.
Say that.
Try and be truth to yourself.
Try cannot. Try cannot. If you try, it's gone.
You have to.
Just be, not even have to. Because have to means effort is required. Truth is not gained. What did you chant when I came? Na karmana na prajaya dhanena. So by karma it will not. So whether you do karma yoga, we also do meditation, we do japa, we do studies of scriptures, we do chanting, we do contemplation, we do reflection. As long as this doing is there, it is far away. But can we stop the doing?
No.
Cannot. We cannot. This doing is a phenomena. It is happening. Don't get involved in it. Let it happen. Have the courage to watch it unfold. Sometimes that doing will be like in the morning you wake up, the doing begins automatically. You will go to the loo, you will go to the shower, you will brush your teeth, doing begins. You don't have to think also, it starts. Then whatever is the pressure inside your mind from last night, it will keep unfolding. And by the evening, starts enfolding. Automatically, all that doing becomes non-doing. What contribution was there from your side? It began because you woke up. Did you wake up because you decided you are going to wake up? Eyes opened, you woke up. Just like hunger comes by itself, pressure comes by itself, eyes also open by themselves. Things are, watch this, that it is happening. So whole day you unfold into the world, your mind unfolds, and every evening again it unfolds. Where is your contribution? You take birth, unfoldment begins. Baby, childhood, teenage, youth, adult, old age, and death. Where is your contribution? Where is your contribution? You did not choose to be born, you just came. You did not say, I'm growing now, nothing you did. It's automatically growing. Body. Same way the breath is automatically going on. Same way the mind is automatically going on. Where is our contribution? There is no contribution. And that is why, because we are eternally the witness of everything that this phenomena is unfolding as, therefore we can talk about it. Isn't it? Because we are not involved in it. Therefore we can talk about it. See? Be that one. Take that position. And that position throughout his life, Lord Krishna never let go. He was always taking that position. Whether he's making kings, destroying kings, he's fighting a war, he's scolding, he's training, he's marrying, he's, the diplomacy, everything is going on. But he never stops being him. You also start doing that. We should also, I should say just you. We should start being that and allow the phenomena to unfold. Every time I give this example, if it clicks, it clicks. The fan is going on because you press the button, the energy started going into the fan and it started revolving.
I feel very warm here.
Yeah, you
No,
can
no,
put,
it's okay.
Huh?
It's fine, it's okay.
ask others, I don't know.
No,
I
it's
don't
fine.
It's coming. Okay. Sorry.
No, for
You said about
Melbourne or no Melbourne, doesn't matter.
You are not aware of this.
Ah. Now where was I? Fan.
Fan. Fan.
That's why he thought. Huh? If the fan is switched on, it gets the momentum, and the moment it gets momentum, it starts revolving. Now to undo the momentum, what do?
Stop it.
You stop it. But when you stop the switch, you press it down, does the fan stop immediately?
Yeah.
Because the momentum is still there and it will make the fan go, but the speed is continuously reducing. Can you observe that in your life every day? Does it happen anywhere? Where? Where does it happen?
When you sleep.
When you sleep. In the morning you switch on, I am the body. Started. By afternoon the full fan is going on when the sun comes up.
Night slow stop.
And then we still, no, how can it be? So we take a coffee at 3-4 o'clock and try to push it a little bit more, as if we are going to achieve something more by taking a coffee and being awake.
But sometimes it happens in the morning as well.
Oh yes.
When you go and do your japa,
In-
then it is your.
Ah.
Then the fan automatically goes off.
Goes off.
You don't know there's a fan.
One person told me
Temporary.
that Swamiji, the best thing I do is I was having a problem of sleep and I started doing japa. And I didn't tell her to do japa, I told her to read Bhagavad Gita. I said, you read 3 pages every day or 5 pages every day. She says, Swamiji, fantastic. How many pages have you read? Swamiji, I have not been able to complete the first 5 pages. Why? The moment I take that book,
It's
I read few lines and I am already asleep. My problem of not sleeping at night is over. When Swamiji gave us the Amrit Anubhav, many years I tried. Have you seen the book called Amrit Anubhav? It's Jnaneshwar Maharaj's commentary, not commentary, verses on his state of realization. Absolutely glorious. And I thought I have contemplated enough and this and everything. And I used to, I feel I must take this as a project, and start taking it for classes so that I can contemplate deeper. And for 2, 3, 4 years, I used to open the first page. I found I was also like that person whom I had told to read Bhagavad Gita. The moment I take the first page, gone. Whether it is in the morning or afternoon or evening, it didn't matter. First page means you're gone. But then one day, after 10, 12, 13 years, last 3 years ago, something happened inside. And I opened it and I completed one page, reading one page. I said, wow. Again turned over, continued reading, and I didn't stop the whole night. I said, oh, this is fascinating. I only heard about it from Swamiji, but never taken it as a topic of contemplation. I said, oh, this is fantastic. And then some renewed enthusiasm that yes, I can now, I must take it verse by verse and Swamiji's commentary and contemplate loudly. why it happens, when it happens, how it happens, in whose company it happens, or in no one's company it happens. Don't be the decision maker. Oh, but Bhagavad Gita says that? I don't know what Bhagavad Gita says. You look at your own experience. Things happen in your life not because they're just happening. Let them happen. You give momentum. How do you give momentum to life? How do you give momentum to your waking or dream? How do you give it? By giving,
Importance. Projection.
by giving, Amma said correctly, importance and value to the experience that you are having. The more importance you give, the more value you give, not only to this world, not only to this body, not only to your breath, not only to your mind, emotions. To that extent, the fan will keep going from speed 1 to speed 2 to speed 3 to speed 4. It will keep growing faster and faster because your attention, think about it. Now I'm asking you to think about it. You take that thought, what Swamiji said just now, and it'll keep going. What did he say? You know? And how do you unclutch from it? Stop giving importance to any thought, any idea, any emotion. Express the emotion, but don't become, as Swamiji says or Mahatma says, don't become emotional. Play the role. You did well.
That's why I said it was easy.
Now, it's that easy to live life also. Just like you went and played the role, and yet, while playing the role, you never forgot that you are Chandrasekhar, Maithili's husband. If you forgot, you will be in trouble.
No, I needed the help actually.
Same way, play the roles of husband, wife, etc., etc., but be the original. Krishna played so many roles, but he never, I'm repeating this again, but he never lost the plot. We lose the plot the moment we wake up. The moment we wake up, we are with ourselves. The moment we give importance and value to the first thought that comes into our mind, what is the first thought that comes? I am the body. Which position I am in? Then the time, and slowly, slowly everything begins. See? We are creating our own trap. Because we are not recognizing that there is nothing required to be done in order to be yourself. Because we do not know how not to do anything. So, all the scriptures are written. So, all the sadhanas are given. So, all the contemplations. Why? Because this mind which is full of wanting to do something, how to undo, is being taught. And if our discussion, if our study of scriptures, if our pranayam, if our japa, if our meditation, if our study of Bhagavad Gita for that matter, if it is not leading to the self, if it is not concluding in the self, then understand that particular session has gone the wrong way. It's gone the wrong way. We must be. That is our true dharma. Our dharma is not, as I said before, to by heart, to know like a parrot everything. No, that is not our dharma. Today we were walking, and the gentleman said, who was with us, "Oh, I would love to come back as an eagle, you know." Why? He was tired of walking probably, and he saw the bird flying. He said, "I want to be like an eagle." I said, "Yeah, I can do hang gliding." He said, "Swamiji, you can do hang gliding. How does it feel?" I said, "I have not reached the height of the eagles yet." Not physically. "No, I would love it." I said, "Why would you wish?" She said, I think, "Why would you wish to be an eagle. Huh? See? And these default settings that we have, they become more detrimental to us. And what? By study of Bhagavad Gita, etc., we just learn to be alert about ourselves. Just learn to be alert about ourselves. That I am in spite of everything. Nothing can be added to me, nothing can be subtracted from me. The mind cannot be without me. The whole world which is in my mind, that cannot be subtracted. It will come, it will go. You cannot remain in silence all the time. You cannot be sleeping all the time. You cannot be waking all the time. This phenomena will go at its own pace. It's already been programmed. You cannot do anything about that program.
But
That means
is
that-
there a difficulty in that it becomes a fatalism then?
No, it does not. Fatalism is if you think that there is nothing can be done about it, and oh my God, so that is fatalism. Yes, nothing can be done about the phenomena, but I am the one who's supporting the phenomena. Without me, the phenomena cannot be. Is it fatalism? Because the sun rises and sun sets, it's a phenomena. Is it fatalistic? The phenomena of waking, dream and deep sleep coming and going every day, is it fatalistic? No, because you know you are other than that. You know you can talk about it. But we have lost the plot somewhere. Instead of even though we talk about it objectively, but when it comes to spiritual unfoldment, we forget that objectivity. Suddenly we take a position of a spiritual seeker and we lose the total picture. What Bhagavad Gita is telling us is keep the total picture always in your mind. Nothing needs to be done. Now, whether you study, practice whatever you need to practice, but come to a point of being everything or not being anything. It's one and the same. Because, first topic today when we are talking, just thoughts coming. She was saying, what was the first one? Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, first part. This Shankaracharyaji's words, that truth is Brahman and the world is an illusion. But that is only half truth. It is not, that is good at the beginning stages. Then what are the final stages?
Everything is Brahman.
Sarvam Khalvidam Brahman, isn't it? That everything is Brahman. Then what is included in that everything?
You are also saying.
Even the Vidya.
All the thoughts, all the breaths, of all the people, of all the past, of all the future, space, air, fire, water, earth. How is that possible? Can I experience that? Can. You do it every day. You do it every day.
No, but if I experience it becomes objective, isn't it?
No.
I'm just being myself, so then I
Yes,
don't experience.
we can only talk in the, we are
Okay.
talking in the relative right now, so I can
Yes.
give you only a relative because truth cannot be talked about. We can only indicate it. But when I say that because the whole phenomena is in the mind, the phenomena cannot be other. Can the phenomena of sunrise and sunset be without the sun? Not possible. Can the phenomena of waking, dream and deep sleep be without the self? Not possible. Can the phenomena of waves be without water? Not possible. Now keep these examples in your mind. The phenomena of the dream. That mind itself becomes the space, air, fire, water, earth, trees, rivers, mountains, people, their bodies, their breaths, their emotions, their thoughts, their past, their future, everything that mind has become. Don't you know it when I'm talking to you in this manner?
Yes.
Yeah,
Same is true about this waking state also. So it is your experience, but we are not ready to look at it in that way till the scriptures remind you, Arey, you are already having that experience. Yes, now everyone says yes, yes, yes. So just like in dream, the entire experience was the mind alone, and mind is not other than the self. Exactly the same thing is happening in the waking state also. You are the self. The mind has become the entire waking world. So the world is not out there. The world is in here.
We are projecting.
Oh,
We are projecting.
we are not.
The mind is projecting.
Ah,
Mind is.
it is getting projected. You don't come in between. You stand apart. So the mind is projecting. Do we create, does the sun make the sunrise or sunset? No. Isn't it? It's a phenomena. Do the waters make the waves? No. From water's point of view, everything is water only. So do you make waker, dreamer, deep sleeper? No, they just come and go. You never say that I'm going to become a waker, now I'm going to become a dreamer. You don't say that. At the right time, in the right position, in the right time of the circumstances, these three come and go. They can happen in 5 minutes, they can happen in few minutes, they can be 24 hours. It can go on also. But it's a phenomena. Phenomena is only on the surface. So even this waking experience is a phenomena of our mind, of this mind. Don't identify with it. But for that, courage is required.
And long
It
time.
seems to be the strongest ones among
Correct, because we have put all our eggs in this basket called waking world. We have put all our eggs in this basket.
When the scripture says we have put this wrong association for many, many centuries of birth. So, but then of course, it is a process of, doesn't happen like a switch, isn't it? Does it happen over a period of time, or that's the sadhana comes in?
If you believe it that way, that it is millions of years, then that is your truth. Then you will require millions of years to undo it.
No, it doesn't say millions of years.
No,
undo it.
I'm just putting words to it, okay?
Yeah,
That because many lives you said,
Ah.
so
The
many
wrong
lives.
habit, that
Hmm?
wrong habit
Huh.
seems to be our problem, to immediately disassociate that identity and act as well.
So,
that putting that all the day.
But you are acting always in disassociation. You are imagining that there is association.
can you say the mind is acting in that case? The mind is acting.
Activity is only in the mind, cannot be in the self.
Yeah, and if you're taking like you're speaking like Lord Krishna, in that case he creates the Maya, whereas the people.
Does
who
he create it? That's another question.
Yeah, this is
Does
what
he
is-
create it?
No, who creates?
Good question. We'll put it open. Does he create Maya?
We all create our own Maya, to some extent.
No, let's stay at the Lord's level.
Yeah, okay. Lots of-
Does the Lord create his own Maya or illusion?
What do you think, Babu?
He says, one instant he says Mama Maya Duratyaya, but then he says,
says-
but again from
But
end
from
he
where
says
you
there
are-
is no.
Yeah, he
Ah,
says-
exactly.
One of the,
I am
it
in
is a
it, I am not
context
in it.
in which
Ah.
we look at it.
He's contradicting. He's
He's always contradicting. He's not allowing you to create any concept about anything he has said throughout Bhagavad Gita.
he's-
He will say something and he'll cancel it
It's
afterwards.
always a paradox.
Hi? Yeah.
It's always a paradox.
Yes.
It's a play, isn't it? A Leela. Play of
That therefore, rather than try to logically work this whole thing out, accept it as the Leela. Leela means the divine play.
Okay.
So this whole phenomena, now if you start taking the waking world in which we have put so much importance, if you start taking it as a play, it will be wonderful. Mahatmas have taken it as a play and they are in masti. We have not taken it as a play, we have taken it seriously. That I have to achieve something, I have to self-realize, I have to do this, I have to become God-realized, I have to do this sadhana. How can I be one with the Lord without doing any sadhana? Just be. If you can be, everything is over. If you can't be, then allow whatever needs to express. Don't make a decision. Allow the Lord. Make a decision that I'll contemplate on the Lord, I will think of the Lord, I'll be eager to be one with the Lord, and whatever sadhana has to happen, He will reveal. That will be your unique journey to yourself or to the Lord. But if you take the position that I have to decide, like someone came to me, Swamiji, came, touched my feet, everything, and Swamiji want to share with something. Came with the whole family. I said, okay, tell me. Oh, this person, we made him our guru. I said, acha, and Kalyuga has come. He said, why Swamiji? I said, thought gurus make disciples. In Kalyuga, disciples are making guru. That I made him my guru. See how strong the I is? This is where we are going wrong. Taking ownership. Stop that. And if our attention is on the Lord, the right thing will, the phenomena is there, no? Can you stop the phenomena? No. Automatically the right thing will be expressed in the phenomena.
But problem is attention on the Lord, because attention wants to go to the play around, right?
That distraction will be there. Let the play go on. Let the eyes be distracted. Let the mind be distracted. Don't forget that it's all because of you. You are the center. Without you, the mind will not be distracted. If you are not there, dead man doesn't have a mind to get distracted, isn't it? So, right now I'm talking, be. Right now you are listening. Allow listening to take place, words to be formed. Your mind will be hearing the words that are coming through your ears and creating a particular, one after the other, the words are coming as thoughts in your mind. Let it all happen. Don't try to undo it. But be at this moment, who is that because of whom listening is possible? Who is that because of whom thinking is possible? Who is that because of whom in me the talking is possible? Don't say anything. Because if you say Atma, again another thought is coming. And if you say it, no problem. No problem. But don't become the thinker. What is the difference between seekers and the Mahatmas? We keep becoming someone or the other. Mahatmas continue to be. They don't become anyone. People think that they are becoming, but they themselves inside know they are just are. Krishna, he became husband of, as I said, so many wives. He became brother of so many. He became uncle. He became the father of 16,108 wives, giving birth to 10 sons each. He became father to all. And yet, he was a brahmachari. Brahmachari meaning the one who walks the path of truth. Meaning he is the truth. In spite of all that expanse. The water expresses as all the waves, yet water is water, isn't it? It has got nothing to do with the waves. The gold becomes all the ornaments, but the gold is still gold. Whether it expresses or does not express as the ornament. Nothing has happened to the gold. We give value to the ornament. Gold doesn't. Before also I was gold. Outside also gold.
So every experience or whatever that we perceive, whether it be your own or even somebody else's, if you stand apart, then we are experiencing or we are seeing the phenomena just happening. So it becomes like Krishna having his 10,000 wives really means that really that it is just what's happening in the
That particular period of time demanded that infinite to express in that particular form in order to do what was required to be done. Is that happening outside the divine? Is it happening outside the divine? No. Because for Krishna, whether he is expressing as the Devas or he is expressing as the Asuras, if he is expressing as the Pandavas or he is expressing as the demonic Duryodhana, Dantavakra, etc., he says, everything I am. You know, when Karna was one of the characters in Mahabharata, he is dying. He is the son of
Surya.
the Lord's son, born to his mother before she got married. Before she had 5 boons, and he 6 boons. She could invoke anyone. So first she thought, "Arey, is it possible?" She was only 17, 18 years old, 16 years old. She thought, in that young age, experimentation, let me see. She calls Lord Son, and Lord Son comes. He says, he blesses her with the sun. She says, no. I was just testing that the mantra works or doesn't work. He says, now you're called. I cannot change it. But I can't. You know, it is what society will just throw me out of the. And then the child is born in secret, and she puts him in the river. And in the end, when Karna, his name is Karna, and then afterwards 5 Pandavas are born. But this Karna, when he is dying, he tells Lord Shri Krishna that I wanted change in the society because the society had become decadent. It was stuck in, it was not recognizing people for their merit. It was recognizing people because of the birth. So a Brahmin born to a Brahmin is a Brahmin. A warrior born to a warrior class is a warrior. Then if a business person's son cannot pick up the weapons of destruction. Why? Because you only play with money, man. You are born in a business class. You are not born in a, you are not allowed to study. All those things were going on. And he wanted change. He says, there is no one in the whole world who can defeat me. But who has brought him up? A charioteer. But he knows that I am something more. But the society is not ready to accept. So he wants to bring about a change. And there he asks Krishna, just before Krishna tells Arjuna, finish him off. Last dialogue, so that he dies in peace, because he's a good man. He wants to bring the righteous change in the society. He says, did I do wrong? Is it wrong to expect change for the better? He says, no, what you have lived your whole life to achieve, the change in society is absolutely correct. Then where have I gone wrong? Why you are asking me to be ready for liberation? He says, because you chose the wrong company. Because you, as long as you make choices, you will get the results, isn't it? Everything will give you a result, whether you like it or not. So he chose the bad fellows to bring about change. He didn't choose the righteous fellows. So when we are living in our life, whom do you choose? One moment. Whom do you choose? What is righteous and what is unrighteous? I'm not talking about people, I'm not talking about teachers, I'm not talking about scripture. Scriptures is righteous, yes. But ultimately, what is the most righteous? The self, the Lord in our heart. He is the most righteous. But we take him, put him aside and replace him with anything else, then you will get what you have put attention on. Isn't it? I'm getting horripulations as I'm even thinking about it.
No, so nice, so nice. Yes, yes.
So where is our what, if at all, because we live in this world of choices, then what is your choice? Is it your choice to put attention on the self, on the Lord in our heart, who has all the answers? And He will not allow you to be without answers. But all He needs is your attention. I'm not quoting any verses, I'm just giving you
No, no,
the nutshell. All He needs is your attention. He says, Mai arpito mano buddhi. Offer me your mind and intellect, and I'll take whatever is required. He will take care. What sadhana is required, you won't. As long as you keep attention on Him, sadhana is happening or not happening, it does not matter. When you are thinking about the sleep at night, in what position your body is, it does not matter. Is the breath slow and shallow or fast? It does not matter. Whether you are eaten or not eaten, it does not matter. Because your attention is on sleep, when your attention and choice is on the Lord in your heart, then it does not matter. That's the time, that's the moment Bhagavad Gita will start revealing itself to you, inside you. It will be your direct experience. See? So the most practical way is remember the Lord in your heart, or be the self, whichever way. In 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Arjuna is very keen. He says, oh Lord, you have told me everything about yourself, and I want to, how do I see you in this world? Not Vishwarupa, Vibhuti Yoga. How do I see you in this world? And he starts saying, the first thing, what he says? The first Vibhuti, what he says?
Ahamatma Gudakesha.
Ahamatma. He says, I am the self in every being. That is my specific manifestation. Vibhuti is a specific manifestation. And then, after having given in the first verse, he says, I am the self in every being, and that is why Vibhuti. Then he goes on saying that among the mountains I am so, and among the rivers I am Ganga, among the trees I am the Ashwatthara tree, and so 73, 74 examples he gives. And he says towards the end that you can have infinite lives and I can talk infinitely. These specific manifestations will never end. Do your thoughts end? They end at night, but next morning again they begin. Isn't it? So there is no end to. Thought is also a specific manifestation. Emotion is also a specific. He says everything is a vibhuti. Have this vision. But Arjuna is now really fired up. He says, oh my Lord, I want to, if infinite lives, I can't waste that much time. Even though it is nice to listen, I'm enjoying it immensely, but a thought is coming. He says, what? He says, can I experience you in your entire being with all manifestations in one go? Natural progression of thought. All this happens to a seeker also. But attention has to be like Arjuna's on the self, on the Krishna. So your attention should be on the self. Who is you? Any seeker. Where is the seeker? Not in the self, he is in the mind. Seeker and sought is in the mind. Thinker and thought is in the mind. Seer and seen is in the mind. See? So the mind has to keep attention on the self. And then he says, I'll have to give you a special vision and all that. All this happens. You read biographies of various masters, you will find amazing, unique ways which you have never even thought of. How they come face to face with the Lord or the self, and be the self. The theme is the same, but the unfoldment is unique for everyone. I cannot copy you, you cannot copy him, you cannot copy her. Impossible. Verse of the Bhagavad Gita is the same. Then how do you find what is my unique way? I'm coming down one level now. How do I find my unique way? If you are the decision maker of your unique way, you are going the wrong way. Then what do? I put attention on the Lord in my heart. I put attention on the self by being the self. Why do we study scriptures? I am asking, with this I will conclude. Why do we study scriptures?
Purify us.
How
Is
to
it-
put the attention on ourselves.
Purify.
Give some guidance and then gives a path and different example. Give more clarity to
Oh yes.
You're in the moment. Well, when I'm reading them, I feel I'm in the moment. It seems normal.
What does it mean to be in the moment?
To me.
Good
Be
point.
with it.
I'm just taking hers. Huh? What does it mean to be in the moment?
Not getting.
Don't think too much, otherwise it will not come. Just like
You just
now
feel
it
happy.
came out to you,
I'm
same.
happy, and for me, I feel happy. I feel that's the truth.
What has dropped?
The mind, the ego.
Okay.
Holiday
To be in the moment, the mind has dropped. What is the purpose of studying scriptures?
Drop.
Not to realize, to drop the mind.
I remember the communication that we had about holiday. Holy day.
Holy day.
Holiday for the mind.
Ah. So all studies of scriptures, all sadhanas, all practices are not for realization. You are already realized. Then what is the obstruction that is coming between you and yourself?
Mind.
The mind. All studies of scriptures are to dissolve this mind. Not remove the mind, to dissolve the mind. What does dissolution of mind mean? That mind will not be there anymore? No. The impact that, the importance that we are giving to the mind, that will get dissolved. Mind will still continue to function. Mind will continue to function, but you will not be there.
Can we say the mind is dissolving in the Lord?
You can say, in fact, mind is the Lord.
Yeah, mind is.
It is the vibhuti of the Lord. Lord does not see the mind, his potentiality as other than himself. So why do you want to see the mind as a problem? But that vision that mind is not a problem will only come by first coming to be steady on the Lord in our heart or the self.
As you earlier said, mind is the play. You take it as the play of Leela.
It's the Leela,
Yeah.
phenomena,
Yeah,
phenomena, yes. And in that there is no right, there is no wrong. It's all happening by His will. Don't come in yourself. Oh, I am the self, then I will make decision. Gone. Go become the individual straight away. Huh? So that's the thought for today. A different way, a different approach, a different understanding and vision of how to practically apply it. I am not telling in your day-to-day, because people think practical means daily living. And yes, I am not talking about anything other than daily living. Why do you live? To be miserable? No, to be happy. Then how do we be happy? How do we become permanently happy? Only by being the self, not by becoming anyone else. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Hari Om.
Thank you very much, Swamiji.
So nice. It was.
टाइम पास है
Time pass nahi.
अरे फिर सीरियस हो गया.
See, now, Damodaranda